Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I am your social studies teacher from Pakistan International School, Doha, Qatar, for the e-learning program. Now we are in the fifth week of the distance learning program, and this is the third lecture of unit number 1. Dear students, we discussed the definition of a light year, Hubble telescope, sun, stars, solar system and phases of moon in previous lectures. I hope you have completed your work accordingly. Students, the topic of today's lecture is eclipses and types of eclipses. You have to complete a given worksheet, so be attentive throughout the video lecture. The learning objectives of today's lecture are that you will be able to understand the term eclipse and its types, and you will be able to understand the phenomenon of an eclipse. You will be able to draw the diagram of lunar and solar eclipses and complete your worksheet properly. First, you know about what is an eclipse. Eclipse occur when three heavenly bodies, the sun, the moon and the earth, come into line so that one blocks out the other. There are two types of eclipses on earth, an eclipse of the moon and an eclipse of the sun.
First of all, I explain you what is lunar eclipse. The moon moves in an orbit around Earth, and at the same time, Earth orbits the sun. Sometimes Earth moves between the sun and the moon. When this happens, Earth blocks the sunlight that normally is reflected by the moon. This sunlight is what causes the moon to shine. Instead of light hitting the moon's surface, Earth's shadow falls on it. This is an eclipse of the moon. A lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse can occur only when the moon is full. A lunar eclipse usually lasts for a few hours. A lunar eclipse can be seen from the side of the Earth facing the moon. Here is the diagram to show the complete phenomenon of the lunar eclipse. There are two types of lunar eclipses: total lunar eclipse and partial lunar eclipses. A total lunar eclipse occurs when the moon and the sun are on exact opposite sides of Earth. A partial lunar eclipse happens when only a part of the moon enters Earth's shadow. Now, I will explain what is solar eclipse. Sometimes when the moon orbits Earth, it moves between the sun and Earth. When this happens, the moon blocks the light of the sun from reaching Earth. This causes an eclipse of the sun or solar eclipse. During a solar eclipse, the moon casts a shadow onto Earth. Solar eclipses only last for a few minutes. Here is the diagram to show the complete phenomenon of the solar eclipse. There are three types of solar eclipse. The first is a total solar eclipse. A total solar eclipse is only visible from a small area on Earth. The people who see the total eclipse are in the center of the moon's shadow when it hits Earth. The sky becomes very dark, as if it were night. For a total eclipse to take place, the sun, moon and Earth must be in a direct line. The second type of solar eclipse is a partial solar eclipse. This happens when the sun, moon, and Earth are not exactly lined up. The sun appears to have a dark shadow on only a small part of its surface. The sun seems to have a bite taken out of it. The third type is an annular solar eclipse. An annular eclipse happens when the moon is farthest from Earth. Because the moon is farther away from Earth, it seems smaller. It does not block the entire view of the sun. The moon in front of the sun looks like a dark disk on top of a larger sun-colored disk. This creates what looks like a ring around the moon. Students, here is one caution for you that Never look directly at the sun. It can permanently damage your eyes. You must use proper safety equipment to look at any type of solar eclipse. Now coming to the most important part of today's session is your homework. Please go through the video lecture once again. Read page numbers 6 and 7 thoroughly. Complete the given worksheet properly. You can write answers to given questions in your notebooks. Draw and label the diagrams of lunar and solar eclipses neatly.
Here hyperlink of the video is been sharing for more understanding of the topic. Dear students, if you have any confusion, feel free to ask your subject teacher for more clarity. Dear students, inshallah next week we will start chapter number 5 according to our first term syllabus. But before the start of new chapter, you make sure that all of you have 3 worksheets of chapter number 1. These worksheets contain all short and long questions and objective portion. You can write all work in your notebook or just paste filled worksheet in your notebook. Thank you and Allah Hafiz.